Righty, ho everyone, my name is Mr. Fruit, and welcome to the GG Over Easy Podcast, episode 161. Continuing the guest episodes, in today's episode, we have our guest, Mtashed.
Where is he? Well, for me.
The
below you.
absolute stud muffin right there.
Yeah, so the video podcast has gotten approximately 33% more handsome. So whether you're watching or listening, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We talk about Mtashed's career, his current space and content creation, how he
blacklisted Mtashed,
how he scammed the RuneScape market.
Podcast with a blacklisted creator.
Yeah. It's the redacted guest. All that and more, including Game Awards and whatnot, in today's episode. So stay tuned.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online, plus it's affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match you with a therapist. If things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist at any time. It couldn't be any simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/GG. That's betterhelp.com/GG. As we get up there in age, one thing we do need to worry about is erectile dysfunction. And that's no cap. About 30 million men are affected by erectile dysfunction. And honestly, it may be a little bit embarrassing to talk to your doctor about or talk to a friend about. That's where RexMD has you covered. What you can do is go to rexmd.com and get 90% off RexMD with our exclusive link, rexmd.com/GG. Again, get 90% off RexMD with our exclusive link, rexmd.com/GG.
Honestly, holding Lucas, I'm getting gassed.
Yeah.
My shoulder's giving out. I'm like, holy fuck, and he's just getting heavier and heavier. So I got to get back to the gym so he's light. He's big though. He's a big boy.
Yeah, congrats on the sex.
Yeah.
How old is he now? He's not.
He is 3.5 weeks.
I was like, years?
Yeah,
he's 4 months. Or sorry, 3.5 weeks. 3.5 months. He's 4 months on the 19th.
I was like 3.5 weeks or 3.5 years. Those both sound wrong. Has time been manipulated?
Whiskey on the rocks, I see.
No, it's just a little energy.
Yeah.
I'm sipping on some green tea. Not as
how
exciting.
Eloquent of you.
Speaking of which, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GG Over Easy Podcast, episode 161.
69.
We are gathered here today to join forces to defeat the evil that is your commute time.
Yeah.
Or
the best.
Whenever else you listen to this.
I mean, after real gamer hours, I would say it's probably us right after.
Oh, for sure.
In terms of commuting podcasts.
Yeah. People tried to say a beef with Mtashed's dead podcast, RGH. Which one's the better one? And well, I mean, who's still standing? Who withstood the test of time? I mean, that's all I'm saying.
RGH didn't die. It was murdered.
Yeah, it was brought out
big
back.
Arrow, the red arrow.
It is going to be on NBC Dateline.
You see, the thing is people are still asking for us to bring it back, and I just have to keep saying it's not going to happen.
I was a listener. I liked it.
You're high in demand.
It was fun. It was a good project. Don't realize how much work it is. I don't know. I think it was over 50, because we did a full year. So maybe 60 episodes, 70 episodes. So and because we did it every Wednesday. So it was a lot, and it got to be too much. Just an extra thing on the schedule. And my son, with his hockey and all these things, it just started being too much. And I was the head coach for my son's team, and I had to admit, and it's we practiced every single Wednesday as well. It became just a scheduling issue more than anything.
It's do I want to go to my kid's hockey game, or do I want to talk about gambling drama on Twitch? It's
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right, son. If I have.
I'll have fun at practice. Yeah, see you later.
Well, speaking of which, glad to have you on the cast, Mtashed.
Great to have you back. Well, happy we had him.
No, this is my first
Yeah.
time.
I was thinking about that. I don't know how we haven't had John earlier.
Yeah, very surprised we haven't had you. Because I was about to say, last time we had you, you didn't have a son. That was going to be my segue. Or, well, I mean, you had a son, but you...
Congrats on having sex.
He was like an old son. Now we've got a new son.
Yeah.
He's been replaced.
It's it just before I forget, do you want to know what my favorite thing this summer was?
Let me hear it.
Riding my bicycle, and I listened to this podcast. I think I listened.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think I listened to like maybe 45 episodes over the course of this summer. So I literally am doing the backlog kind of back. So it was nice because I'd go for a big long ride. I get through it. One of my favorite episodes is actually when BlueWestlo is popping off talking about all the hats from Team Fortress or whatever. Dude. And there's a whole economy. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah. It was CS before CS.
It goes deep.
It really was. Like the Team Fortress economy, which is, it's kind of sad because of like how big NFTs have become, you just have all these crypto bros just like playing Team Fortress to try and get like a small profit.
Right.
So it's a little down the drain, but back in the day, it was tight.
Well, let's do a little deep dive on you real quick, because if some of the listeners may not know you, so why don't you introduce yourself, as well as explain, because some people might be like, oh, Mtashed, isn't that Rumble King from Destiny? Where is he
from
been?
That Rezo clan?
Yeah. Isn't he the FPS gamer gone gotcha?
So I'm Mtashed. I am a 30-year-old gamer. I've got 2 kids.
Yeah, you look great for 30.
I got a wife.
You're successful.
I started things off with Destiny. That was like the start of the career, like many people. And I grinded it out for years, but I also, I deal with burnout issues. So I've covered Division, Monster Hunter. I've kind of jumped around, and now
New World. Let's not forget.
Yeah, New World tips, right?
New World tips, right?
That's
where I learned my hog XP farm.
Exactly. And now I'm covering, for the most part, Genshin Impact. A pretty big departure from what I was doing, but I saw the views. I saw everyone was playing it. No one was covering it. I took a dive, and I like tripled in size from it. So I've been over there miserable for 2 years. For 2 years, and now I'm praying that with the Game Awards and some of these other announcements, we can find something new. Because
can I ask you something about Genshin? Do you enjoy the game? Like, do you enjoy playing it? Like,
no, not anymore.
I know nothing about the game. I know
not anymore
about Genshin.
I did in the first few months, and that's the thing is like I played it randomly, and after 2 or 3 days, I was like, oh my god, I love this. And then I looked at how many people were streaming it. I looked at the Google Trends, and it was like above Fortnite. And then that's when I pulled the trigger. So I didn't even make content on the first day. I actually didn't even play it on the first day. It was like on the second day. And I just kind of realized, wow, I really like this. I'm going to just go all in, and I hope it works out. And it did. And my first 3 videos did terrible. Like
that's what what were the first videos that you decided to do?
The first video got like 17,000 views, and I was like, oh my god. Like this is like 1/10 of some of my videos, 1/5.
In the Destiny like kind of realm or
exactly
Division, all that kind of stuff.
And I mean Beyond Light was like right around there. So that's that's a pretty big gamble to go on another game when the new big DLC for Destiny is happening, as someone that covered Destiny forever. But it was like the first one was 17,000, the next one was like 33,000, and I was like, I don't know. And then the third one, pretty bad, but then the fourth one got 1 million views in a day.
What was fourth?
Now we're talking.
It was just like a tips I wish I knew before I started. And then the next video and the next video. And
like
it was
a generic kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I did, mistakes you don't want to make, top 25 tips. And I got 9 videos in a row that got 1 million views.
Wow.
And so
had you had 1 million before in Destiny?
Only one video on the Division, like years and years ago. And so it's like, this is a new paradigm. Like this is a whole new world.
Get in the car.
Right? And now I think the most viewed guide is like 6.5 million views or something like that. So
it's wild.
It's 6 times my most viewed video ever. And there's multiple that are above 1 million. And it was just like, It was life changing. I think I had 360,000 subs when I left, and by January, I think I was at like 700,000. Like I full on doubled in 3 months.
Wow,
that's crazy. Hey, and respect, that's a pivot you like to see, because some people, especially longer into content creation careers, think like, I'm stuck here. There's no way I could pivot, and like where I am is just where I'm gonna stay. But proof that
you know what I think I've discovered, because I did the Division, I did Anthem. Like there's some different games there. Even Monster Hunter World, I would say, is pretty different from Destiny. Is, you know, I look back at the analytics, 80-90% of the views are from people that aren't subscribed. They're new people. And some of them are Destiny people that watch Genshin Impact. They were interested in it as well. But I feel like if you go in, you cover the game, you're making good content that's searchable. I really do believe that anyone can pivot. Especially like if you look at someone like an Aztecross, he makes good content. If you look at Cacus, he makes good content. And if they would commit to another game, arguably,
come on, Rick.
I mean, his intros are a little long.
Oh, shut up! Oh, come on.
It's like Rick Cactus's intro and winning Best Actor at Game Awards. It's like speeches
Right
take just about the same time. Yeah.
But I think that it's just like, if you jump in on the new hype thing, because what I'm starting to realize as well is, even myself, for a while, I was playing and searching up endlessly Epic 7, because this galoot over here got me addicted to it. So all my searches and everything on YouTube was Epic 7 forever, for like 2 months straight, because I was obsessed with it. But now that I'm more of a veteran, I don't need to look it up. I never get recommended videos about Epic 7 ever. And so I'm questioning, you know, if people aren't hardcore searching, hardcore diving into a game, addicted to these games, are they searching you up? Are they being recommended your stuff? It's more likely that you jump on a new game, you're covering that new hype thing that everyone's searching and getting recommended to them. You know what I'm saying? And so I have almost no reservations of switching. If Diablo 4 is Pog and I like it, I'll cover it. If Blue Protocol or some of these other games come out and I like it, I'm just going to go in, I'm going to go ham and say, sorry guys,
that's awesome.
You know, but it's time for me to change. So,
and speaking of, because you said hopefully with the Game Awards we get some new type of content. I'm actually really interested, because Blue Protocol is in that camp of what I'm really looking forward to it.
Right.
Is that one of these like, because obviously it's not even remotely the same as Genshin, but it is, right? The art style alone like draws consideration from that crowd, right? Is that
the
one of
funny
those
thing
things you're really looking at?
A month into Genshin Impact, everyone is going, yo, Blue Protocol, it's gonna kill Genshin. You guys see it? No, and there was like a trailer, and I looked at the trailer, I was like, oh god, this looks amazing. Everyone was hyped about it. But then it was like, okay, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years. The game's not even out. I knew about this like in the first month of Genshin.
Same.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, where is this Blue Protocol? It's nice to see that it's actually, well, I mean, it's getting localization through Amazon Games, I believe, right?
And global release and all
Here,
that?
it's getting global, all that stuff, which is awesome, because I despise when a game releases in like Japan or Korea. It gets grinded for a year and then it comes here, because everyone knows everything. There's no discoverability. And for some reason, that ruins games for me. Like Lost Ark, I jumped in for a couple hours and stuff, and I was just playing on stream, and someone come in, you're not doing that rotation properly. And I was like okay, shut up.
I'm like an
done.
hour and a half of playtime, dude.
Nerd.
Yeah, literally. It's like, oh, I'm not doing the optimal DPS in this game that's a year and a half old. And so I want everyone to jump in, get lost in it, explore it. I hope it's awesome. For me, it does look like it's got that potential. Bandai Namco, I've seen what they've done with like, you know, Elden Ring and all these different Dark Souls games. Like, I think they have an idea of the quality of games they want to make, and let's hope that this is up there.
And I want a new MMO, god damn it.
Hell yeah.
And it looks combat looks really good for an MMO, like, quite honestly. So, yes, Mr. Fruit.
Thank you. Long-time listener, first-time commenter, Mtashed. I actually am confused, because I was just thinking about it. I remember seeing a thing called Project Barbecue. Was that Blue Protocol? Is that something completely different?
No, that's not.
It's a different game. Different game.
Different.
I don't know where that has been.
Project Barbecue?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
It was
remember seeing
super
that,
cool.
and I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah, it
that.
looks incredible. It kind of almost looks like DNF Duel, like the
Yeah.
people that
Yeah,
make
the
the
trolls.
dungeon fighter games. And even I don't know if you guys have seen it. I think it's called Tap Tap. It's like a mobile
Oh,
game.
Mhm.
classic.
Yeah, so Tap Tap, they did kind of like the E3 of mobile games. And there was another game that popped up I've never even heard of, and I'm like, really entrenched in this like anime gotcha community. And I was watching this trailer. It looks fantastic. It really does look like there's a lot of competitors for Genshin. Even some of the other gotcha games that already exist, like what's that? The tower defense one, Arknights. Arknights is
Blues.
making a third person adventure RPG, and so I think
Looks
there's going to
sick.
be a lot of options out there for people that
Yeah.
enjoy those exploration games. I hope that they actually make a good game and they're not just trying to cash in on the success of Genshin. You look at all these NFT games and they're just trying to cash in, and it's
Yeah.
just terrible. You look at all the battle royales that were created because PUBG popped off, right? And there's so many that are just terrible, and the copycats are going to happen. And so I just hope that there's good ones on the horizon.
So can I ask something a little off track here? I lurk in your stream a lot, and this kind of goes to the gotcha side of Genshin. I watch your stream a lot. You were talking about that you're potentially blacklisted from ever working with. Is that? Can you talk about that? Or
I'll talk about it.
I'm just curious about like the story behind
yeah.
that.
Pardon your regularly scheduled podcast listening for this short ad break.
As we get up there in age, one thing we do need to worry about is erectile dysfunction. And that's no cap. About 30 million men are affected by erectile dysfunction. And honestly, it may be a little bit embarrassing to talk to your doctor about or talk to a friend about. That's where RexMD has you covered. What you can do is go to rexmd.com and get 90% off RexMD with our exclusive link, rexmd.com/GG. Again, get 90% off RexMD with our exclusive link, rexmd.com/GG. Erectile dysfunction doesn't have to be something that you live with or have something that gets in between you and a relationship. RexMD is shedding light on the stigma of men's health and that stuff that we should be embarrassed about. We no longer have to be embarrassed about it, and you can get treatment for it. So again, get 90% off RexMD with our exclusive link, rexmd.com/GG. For more information, go to rexmd.com/GG.
I'm not potentially blacklisted. I'm absolutely confirmed by employee at company blacklisted. Like it's done. And it's really interesting. I don't know if you heard the story, but right when the game came out, like within the first couple of weeks, I got banned from their official Discord. Like the Genshin Impact Discord, I'm banned from it. And the message was, "You're banned. See you never." The mod who banned me, the message was, "See you never."
Yeah.
And the reason I got banned is because people were, roasting my content, and I kind of went in there and yes, I was roasting back, and I was kind of like, man, reading all these comments from my bathtub full of Genshin money, I was trolling back.
I would say the same thing, like,
right?
Let them know.
But there were some egregious comments. Like we're talking comments about my son. There was comments about me, let's just say unaliving, right?
Yeah.
And all these different things. And so I came back and told them to, F themselves and all
keep
that,
watching
right?
my videos,
Right?
suck my
Right?
ass. Yeah.
But then they banned me for instigating and like for escalating things. I was like, these guys are like harassing me. You're not banning them. And so even from the first couple of weeks, it was a little weird. And the interesting thing is when I started talking about, but this is a whole conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
When I started talking about the issues with resin, I started talking about the gotcha system. I almost quit the game, and then I went free to play because I was like, this feels like gambling. I feel like I'm not promoting a good game. I really did struggle with it. But then I decided to go free to play. I instantly, as soon as all that drama happened, I understand that some people might leave my audience. They might not be interested in my content anymore because of it. I get that. But I went from getting like 15,000 viewers on some of my streams to like 3,000, 4,000. And I'm thinking, that's still a great number, but that's a lot of people to lose. And the amount of comments that said, I respect you so much because of this change. It didn't make sense. It's like there's so many people that are positive and excited about me going free to play. You would think that I would get the same or maybe even more viewers in some cases. Like
I would think more because people would want to see what the game would look like free to play.
Right? Exactly.
As someone trying to save money.
Exactly. And one of the most popular people was Enviosity, who's free to play. And everyone gets so excited because, he's got limited resources. But somehow I went from 15,000 viewers to less than pretty much everyone else in the directory. And this other guy named Tectone, he is vocally negative about the game. His numbers, dropped and stuff too. We truly do question if there might be some sort of view botting situation going on as well. And so I'm banned from the Discord. All of a sudden our numbers plummet. And then a content creator server was created for Genshin Impact.
Spicy.
Well, this is actually like a media server to test all the new characters. You can get all the weapons, all the characters, test everything out. And I couldn't get access to it. And so every character that comes out, all the creators have a fully edited 25-minute long guide testing the characters, DPSs, everything before I can even download the patch. And so it's not a competitive environment in that way. Views seemingly dropped off a cliff, one day. It just boom. And it just seems like this weird hostile environment where if you're not riding Hoyo versus D, you're blacklisted. And the community is different. Like I come back to do a little Destiny stream and people are like, yo, the Tashman's back.
Or the public
with Genshin
opinion.
Yeah, the Genshin Impact is like, you're negative, you don't like our game. It's bizarre. They are so obsessed with defending and white knighting for a $4 billion a year company, and they will never critique
the corporation.
You're like Dado, just in the Genshin world.
You're also we talk about it. People who defending Pokemon is the exact same way. Where people just can't accept criticism, and in this case, it's like the most profitable entertainment franchise. It's the same way. It's like why aren't
they
you?
They make $4 billion
open?
a year off Genshin.
Yeah, they made like 4.3 billion last year.
And that's
it's insane.
And then everyone's like, "What are with all these Genshin clones coming out?"
Yeah, they're like, even if they're a fraction of as successful, it's going to be bigger than some AAA releases,
which is ridiculous.
But the sad thing is you asked me, do you like the game? I did. I loved it. It was amazing. Yeah. But they have continued to. It's essentially a mini game simulator. All these different events are like we're talking like play soccer by hitting the fire slime into a net, and like that's like the big event.
That's a season.
And like hide and go seek. Like there's literally a thing called the Wind Trace Festival, and you play hide and seek against other players, and it's like kind of fun for the first 4 minutes. But the game is FOMO, mini games, and the story is cool. The exploration is cool, but I've been playing for 2 years. I can blow everything up and there's nowhere to use it. And so I keep saying there's no end game. Like there's nothing to do here. Then they came out with an article saying, by the way, we're never doing end game. Like they came out, the devs had like a big thing. And they're like,
really?
Yeah, we have no plans to make anything like the Spiral Abyss, which is the current kind of end game. We have no plans of making anything like that ever again, yada, yada, yada. Because we don't want our players to stress out. What? We're like, what are you talking about? You don't want your players to stress out. What is the reason you're playing? Get the characters, to get their artifacts, the weapons. They have all these combat systems, passives, different enemies, all these things. It's like, yeah, players want to fight stuff, but they don't want to make things for you to fight. So I am very sad about it. I want to move on. There isn't anything great to move on to yet. And I say it all the time is like, I'll cover the news when it's here. But I've kind of said everything I could. I made every guide I could, and I'm just covering the news and kind of milking it until the new big thing happens. So I'm pretty transparent that way, and that probably doesn't help me, a little bit. Like, but I can't fake it.
But like you said, well, you're already kind of blacklisted. So at this point, like, who gives a shit? Like, I'll just say like kind of the truth at this point.
Yeah, and some people say, well, because of that, we respect you more. Because you're blacklisted, we can trust your opinion. If you tell me that the new Wanderer character is bad, then we're gonna say, okay, well, why is he saying this? And they're gonna take it because everyone else just calls everything broken and they're really positive. You know, the interesting thing is I kind of reached out. I tried to figure out, like, am I actually blacklisted? And I found out from someone who worked there, yes, they have it on a list. But
Interesting.
if you want to get off the list, this a different content creator actually reached out to their contact and said, if you want to get off the list, you can get off the list. But you have to delete any video that had anything to do with leaks, which I don't do that much. But you also have to delete anything where you negatively talk about the game. And I said, blow me.
Yeah.
No way. You don't want me to
all my
critique the
videos.
game? You don't want me to critique the game? You don't want me to ever question the practices of this game? No shot. I don't want to be in the creator program if that's the case.
Is Genshin like like Chinese, or is it?
It is,
like,
yeah.
Okay, it is.
Yeah. So I'm sure that there's. I think
the game's
I think they
predominantly-
moved to like Singapore. I think they moved some of their stuff because of all the laws going in with the CCP or whatever. So
it's more so like all about the gacha system, where it's like you get these cases and you open up a case essentially and get.
That's like the only content that happens. It's like mini games to get some currency, so hopefully you can get the new characters. But there's nowhere to use said characters. But that's the thing, is I think a lot of people are starting to recognize, okay, well, there's nothing to actually do in this game. And so I'm noticing the sentiments going down. I think on Google Trends, it's at the lowest point it's ever been. And they just added a card game. That's the thing they've been working on for a year and a half. They added
You're
a card
game fan. You're a card.
Yeah,
game.
but it's like you spent all this time developing a card game.
Is it trash?
It's really RNG. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think there's a lot of depth to it. I'll start raging if I start ranting about this anymore. But it just, I kind of said the game was for me. They're obviously not, I'm not the target audience, and it never will be. And I need to just accept that and shut up and move on, I guess.
Well, that's a healthy understanding. I feel like some people in the Destiny 2 community could learn from you.
Fair.
Which, that's what I want to ask. Where you are right now, is it worse than where you were when you were just doing Destiny?
Like mentally, like happiness wise, or
like when you were before you made the switch, which is probably when you were your lowest, like comparatively, where would you put yourself mentally?
This is worse by a magnitude of 5. I have never been more unhappy with content creation than with Genshin Impact. Because at least with Destiny, I could just mess around in PvP and at least be mentally stimulated. But with Genshin Impact, it's like, I have nothing to do today. I'm going to go walk around and pick flowers. Like, really, it's so
like running around
mentally,
the tower, essentially.
Yeah. And I feel even just with the community, they just spam questions. Should I get this character? Who's the best? What's the best weapon? And I feel like Dado, when a DLC launches, it's just getting spammed with questions. But it's never progressed from that. It's been 2 years of that where they're just I don't want to mess up my account. What's the best thing to do? Where in Destiny, I could go 2 hours of streaming where no one asked me a question like that. They're just oh my God, 6 snipe, and they're talking, and we're just kind of having fun.
Community build.
Exactly. It feels like Genshin Impact is just a bunch of honestly, in some cases children, some of them
suckling at the tit.
Suckling at the teeth. Some people just spam emotes and go, yeah, that character is cute, and it's just not fun. It's not mentally stimulating, and when it was popping off, it was one of the most fun times. I think there's obviously some addiction to seeing the views, and my best month before was 7 million. My best month on Genshin was 25 million views. It's this astronomical thing. It's exciting. It's good. And I did enjoy the game. But now it is so dry. There's no in between. There's no filler. And just kind of feel a little bit locked in place right now. And I mean, I'm losing subs now each month too. So it's
join the team.
Yeah, hey, it happens, but
I haven't seen a green month in a little over 2 years, so yeah.
Takes some time. Takes a little bit of it's hard to swallow. But even with Destiny, I was getting to the end of my rope there. I'm playing the new season a little bit, and I can see so many issues, and I'm starting to mold. Right, and I've been gone for 2 years, so it's I can't imagine how most Destiny creators are still doing it. It's honestly impressive to me. I look at their mental fortitude. I just can't do it. I cannot do it.
I couldn't either. I didn't.
You're preaching.
Yeah.
I need that variety in my life. And I mean, now because of the freedom that Genshin granted, I think I'm even more prone to it. And I'm even more prone to I'm going to take some days off. If there's nothing to say, I'm going to go live my life a little bit and, go on some vacations or just spend extra time with the family. And maybe it's a good thing that things are slow, right? It's, I actually had a contract with Facebook that started in kind of January last year. Or no, I think it started in December last year. Incredible contract, paid really well, but I had to make 20 videos a month exclusive to Facebook. They had to be completely different. And I did it for 7 months. I was doing pretty good, but I was burning out hard. And
well, how much are you uploading to your YouTube relatively to the 20 videos as well?
I mean, it was probably on par like a daily video or something like that at the time. Because there was, even a year ago, there was more stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But, summer came along and I mean, Facebook laid off a bunch of people, but they ended up cutting my contract and a ton of other creators on Facebook gaming. Like, honestly, I think Darkness is one of the only people. Gathalion, he got another offer, but it was terrible from what I heard. And like, they really cut back on a lot of people. And I was stressed about it because it was an amazing contract. And I'm getting paid to make videos. Like, that's my job. I don't mind that. But it was the biggest blessing in disguise. Is just like not having that on my workload and not having that stress anymore, not having to make those videos. And sometimes you don't realize that, like, hey, maybe letting your foot off the gas for a while is important. I didn't realize how busy we'd be with the baby. I didn't realize my son was going to make this like rep hockey team and have hockey every other night now. Like, we're so busy. And if I was still having to do those videos, I don't even know how I'd keep up with it.
Yeah.
And now that the baby's born, hockey's in full swing. The fact that I don't have to grind out Genshin videos every day is probably a good thing for right now. So,
well, then I guess just like you're saying, so you're looking to probably jump ship. It sounded at least like Diablo 4 is currently the biggest one on your radar. Would you say that, or what else are you hoping for?
That one is definitely interesting. It's going to be a pretty big departure from my audience, but again, if the searches are there, it is what it is. And I know that I like games like that. Like, there's a new Path of Exile season launching 5 minutes ago, and I want to play it really bad. Like, I love those types of games. There's also that Wayfinder game that I actually went and played it in Austin a month or two ago, and it's on my radar as well. It's kind of like a third person. You got like different heroes, and you get loot and craft weapons. It has some potential. It's just it needs a bit more polish and stuff. I can't say much because I'm under NDA, but that one's on my radar. I just don't know what the release date is. So it's like, if it's before Diablo, I'll probably play that. If it's later in the year, maybe we'll play it then. But Blue Protocol, again, 2023. Is it at the beginning? Is it in the middle? Is it the end? A lot of the games that I am interested in, they're just saying coming soon or 2023. And I don't really know when they're going to happen. So honestly, it's probably just going to be one of those things where, kind of like Genshin Impact, I see it, I fall in love with it, and I just commit.
Yeah.
Like, apparently there's a new Division coming out, Division Heartland, and it's like a free-to-play thing. Like, I've always loved the Division games. I just feel like, unfortunately, they've botched a few different things to keep me playing.
And how do you botch the sickest BR mode I've ever played in survival?
Survival, yeah.
How do
Truly.
you botch not having that in Division 2?
Right?
They could have made a whole
and like
game
the
about
dark zone was like there was no reason to go in the dark zone. There's no like better weapons, and that's the thing that they just like didn't understand is like, why would you have this dark zone? No one's going in there to fight each other, so it's just like not even a feature. And if you're gonna have a dark zone that's this high risk, high reward, hopefully you have to have the rewards. There was no better guns, no better armor, no specific things really, and so it was just this like dead on arrival thing and. Just such a big oversight because I remember the first days of Division 1 going into that wintry dark zone. It felt like going in the wilderness in RuneScape. I don't know if you guys played RuneScape, but there's kind of this line at the top of the map, and when you jump that line, people can start fighting you, and there's the risk of losing all of your stuff. And going into the dark zone knowing someone could kill me, someone could shoot me right now. it was such an exhilarating thing, and it was one of the best moments in gaming for me. Truly, it was like being in that 1v1 situation in a BR. I look at PUBG and I look at those first fights when it first came out, and I was like, this is one of the most exhilarating gaming experiences of my life. That's what the Darkstone was for me as well. And I'm hoping that Heartland is good. I hope it kind of goes back to those survival roots maybe of the Division, because I think they did have some secret sauce there a little bit.
I would play a whole game like Fruit said. If they just released a whole game that was the survival mode, I
Right.
would play the shit out of it.
It's almost like a Tarkov-y, right?
It's like Tarkov in its own way, but the reason I like it so much is because everyone always starts
With
at the
nothing.
same square.
Yeah.
You're scavenging to get to your objective, whereas a lot of like Tarkov, a lot of like even the cycle. The reason I don't like it is because you go into loot and people can just come in, with really geared up and have big geared runs. But the reason I love survival so much is it's the same idea, right, as Tarkov and all them, but you scavenge to survive, right?
Hmm.
Whereas in Tarkov, it's like you just run around and shoot a couple like raid bosses and shit, and you still do that in Division, but like you have a timer and you have to find food and medicine to keep yourself alive, and oh, you found this cool gun, wicked. Um, you know, can you get to the end objective before your time runs out, while also avoiding people who can also obviously kill you. And then the fact is also balanced by the fact that you can go in as a squad, but you're going to have less resources just because you're grouped up. You have to start
Right.
splitting food and ration everything, and it's just I don't know, man. I feel like they didn't even realize how brilliant it was. Like I feel like they actually just lucked out on it.
Yeah.
But it banged. I love that. I That's kind of what I wanted from like these Tarkov game modes that I just don't get. So hopefully,
Yeah.
I
We'll
love
see.
that you played RuneScape, Mtashed, because my RuneScape experience was totally different. I've never forget it. I was in 5th grade. I had just moved. I was in class with this guy, but I was talking to another kid in class, and I asked what video games they played, and they said, we played RuneScape. I said, what console is that on? They go, no, it's on the computer. So I
Stupid.
went home. Yeah, so I went home. And at that time, I'm playing Neopets. I was a Neopets kind of guy.
My man, hell yeah.
Yeah, I was a
Harry
Neopets
Paintbrush.
guy. Yes, sir. Hey, Supersonic 25. Catch me over there.
Yeah.
Still have my account. I boot up RuneScape, and it's just these little like polygons, just like kind of running around, and then it's like, "Welcome to Tutorial Island," and I got all the way to the cooking shrimp, and I said, "I'm gonna go play Halo 2." Like, what is this? Like, so I went back into my Xbox and played Halo 2, and never touched RuneScape again.
I started RuneScape in grade 2. Grade 1, I heard about it. Grade 2 is when I became addicted to it.
Have you ever thought about covering it?
It's too old now, like for me to get back into, and like I think I have like 8,000 hours on it. Like it's like I played it for my whole life. Like I was chopping wood all damn day and like doing everything. And like there was a point where I had like 40 billion gold, and I had these like party hats. Like one party hat, if you were to sell it, you could buy all the top tier armor for every class, like mage, warrior, and then have money to spare. Like
Just
I was
like a hat.
Yeah, it was just like a Christmas hat that dropped one Christmas one time, and I had so much money on there that I could buy anything, and it almost ruined the game for me a little bit, because the most efficient thing to do was to buy and sell. Scamming noobs, hell yeah, I scam noobs. But like the most efficient thing was either gambling your money fighting people, which I did a lot of, and that's how I made a lot of my wealth. Is you put up your 2 billion gold and say, I'm gonna kill you, and if you do, you get their money, and you could go into the duel arena and do that, and there's like I've seen gold selling,
of
like
people doing that, of like putting up wagers, and it's literally just like boom, boom, and then like something happens and they lose their minds. Like,
oh, it looks so basic, but the thing is it got to the point where I was putting up so much gold that if you look at the real world value of it, I was making $200, $300, $400, $500 bets, and I was losing them and I was winning them. And when I got into university and I had multiple billions of gold, I ended up selling it all, and I got like $10,000.
That's
And
wild.
and like that's when gold prices had kind of tanked. Like I probably could have sold sooner and made quite a bit more because I had relatively the same wealth the whole time. But I just didn't really think to sell it. And so I ended up paying for some of my university with RuneScape gold. My only
That's so
regret
cool.
is I didn't keep one of the party hats because they've hyperinflated so much that the one hat that I would have held on to, it's worth like a full like 50, 60 billion gold now. And that's about how much I was worth before. And I had like 6 party hats because they've fluctuated so much in price. So I could have kept one and still had like an endless supply of money, but I had to pay for my school and I wasn't grinding as much RuneScape. But
I mean, it's
that's like another NFT market, like these global goods or online
CS:GO
goods.
has paid for a good amount of my wedding that's coming up. Like it's crazy, and they're like asking, and I was like, yeah, I'm selling some Counter-Strike skins, and they're like, what? Like,
yeah. Well, I remember on one of the podcasts you said that you were trying to corner the market a little bit on like I think it was like sticker.
So
It was
what happened was I bought these gold stickers at like, I think I bought 6 of them for $400 each, and there were only like 30 in rotation, and 30 that were tradable were like on, let's say, 20 Steam accounts that haven't been active since like '08. So like they're just on accounts that are just inactive and don't get on. So in reality, there's maybe like 20 to 18. So I bought 6 of them, and then I bought a gun that also had like 4 of those stickers applied to them. Because once those stickers are applied, you can't take them off. And a really big thing for CS:GO is like China, if like how China feels about the market and stuff like that. And when I bought these stickers, China hadn't really like gotten to the crack cow market at all. That's what the stickers are called. And all of a sudden China just came in and started inflating the prices like crazy. So like the 6 stickers I bought for 2,400 were all of a sudden worth like $6 grand. They were worth like $1,000 each basically. So before then I had applied 4 of those to like a really rare gun that's like a top 3 stat track gun in the world. So the gun was worth a bit, and then I applied those stickers. So I ended up cashing out like 2 months ago. My initial investment was like $3,200, and I sold it all for 10,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
Stocks.
Yeah. So I sold. So what you have to do with CS:GO skins is I sold the skins on a Chinese market. So I had equivalent to $10,000, but in Chinese like bank. But I'm like, I can't just take that out and put Chinese bank in my bank account at Wells Fargo. So what you have to do is you have to buy like a rare item. So like an item that's like worth $10,000. So I bought an M9 Sapphire, and I know a guy who plays for the Denver Broncos. His name's Graham Glasgow. He plays Counter-Strike and has been looking for one. So he bought it for me for bank transfer.
Really?
And yeah,
interesting.
So, but like that's the thing is like scamming noobs. Like he could have scammed me out for $10,000 in reality if he really wanted to, but because we were both like reputable people, we were able to sell them. So I'm sure that's kind of like how the RuneScape kind of thing went.
Oh yeah, there's like whole markets and like people would lure rich people into the wilderness and then steal their stuff. They'd kill them and steal their stuff and then there was like all these different ones. So they added this item into the game that would teleport you into the wilderness, but it's really obscure that it does it. And then so they had to add warnings to it, and so they'd find a new way to do it. And then they added these play your own houses, and they didn't specify anywhere you could turn on combat in there.
Oh.
And so on day one, people created these fighting rings, and it literally looks like a boxing ring, and it the second you step into it, it's now a combat area. And so in the first like 12 hours, people were just like, hey, come to our house party. We're having a bunch of fun here. These super rich people are going in there losing party hats, billions of gold. And they had to shut it down. They had to like shut the server down and be like, we got to patch this right now because people are they're gonna quit our game. And there's been so many lures where they're tricking people into getting their money. And there's a guy, I think his name is Sir Pugger or something like that on RuneScape. You should watch some of his videos because he finds like bot rings and cheating rings and stuff.
That's sick, like the underground type of thing.
Yeah, seriously. He's like a little investigator. He found this ring of lures, and they found him in real life, they were trying to like mess with him in real life and everything because he got their scam shut down.
Yeah.
And cost them thousands of dollars, and he exposed this big thing. It became this whole big controversy where these guys are trying to track him down, and like
sounds like a Netflix documentary. Like,
seriously, it's wild because I mean, there's a lot of money in it. And if you look at the Venezuela, the cost of gold,
I think I heard about this
in USD is like more valuable than the Venezuelan dollar. So Venezuela is full of people that full-time play RuneScape. And they sell the gold because it makes more money than they could ever make in the country, which is just bananas.
I heard about that through my friend who plays RuneScape.
Yeah. Maybe it's changed now. That's a little while ago, but still.
Yeah. This was like a couple years ago, like when kind of the Venezuelan like government was kind of, or like the inflation there was like crazy. I was like, I saw a video of Venezuela. It was like the kids just playing with money and just kind of like throwing it up in the air and stuff like that. It was wild. All right, let's transition to some of the video game awards type of stuff. Was there anything last night other than finding out Bill Clinton is a Orthodox rabbi now?
That was
scary.
I honestly felt like I was in a fever dream, and yeah, like that is a massive security issue. You have the most important game developers, the biggest minds in the world for games right there, and you just let some random kid walk up like no one was like.
Were you guys like wondering like who the fuck is this guy?
He's behind them like breathing down their neck.
Immediately I was like,
right?
I thought it was the presenter's son, and I thought like he was like, because the presenter was like already kind of crazy, so I thought he was like, I'll tone it down if I get to bring my son on stage. That's what I thought it was.
I'll be honest, I'd kind of tuned out. So Claire and I were like playing Pokemon, and I remember her going, and I think I heard something. She goes, "Wait, did he just think Bill Clinton?" I was like, I think so. That's weird. And then I didn't pay any attention to it. I hadn't seen like most of it, and then that's when I went online, and I was like, "What the? How did I miss all this?" And then all the detective work. It's funny seeing the clip of like, because when they go up for the thing, he's not even in remotely the same area. He's like running down a different aisle to catch up to them.
Like clapping.
Yeah, and it's bizarre. Well, and as everyone talks about too, it's unfortunate because now most of the dialogue and whenever you reference it is going to be about that kid that think Bill Clinton is a rabbi instead of like, hey, that Elden Ring, they won and that was so cool, and then they were so happy.
Talk that Elden Ring won because it was like the
what did I say?
Ragnarok show.
I told you. I said I want Ragnarok, but I knew Elden Ring was going to get it. Pardon your regularly scheduled podcast listening for this short ad break.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I know when I was thrown into content creation, I really wish it came with a manual, but unfortunately it didn't. So unfortunately, I had to work through things like burnout and all those type of things when I really wish it came with a user manual. Thankfully, later in my career, BetterHelp came into my life. They showed me how to deal with those things like burnout, dealing with not wanting to play video games and streaming and all sorts of other problems that I dealt with in my job. I couldn't have been more thankful for my time at BetterHelp. They taught me how to deal with all those type of things in a healthy and great way. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online, plus it's affordable. Just fill out the brief questionnaire to match you with a therapist. If things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist at any time. It couldn't be any simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/GG. That's betterhelp.com/GG.
It was almost one of those like fake it till you make it, like just pretend you belong. He's
That's
like,
what
yes, we're going to. He walks up there and people are like questioning it, but
He
they're
was
just
like
not
patting
quite
people
sure.
on the back like while he was walking up there.
It's bizarre, and I just hope that obviously they change the security stuff, and hopefully none of the devs like get spooked by it. I hope it's just kind of one of those freak things, because honestly, I thought the Game Awards this year were like pretty good compared to even previous years.
Too.
Good, like I thought it was just overall pretty good. Limited cringe. We got some announcements, and Genshin Impact won the Player Choice Award, so we get some free currency.
Yay! Congratulations!
Did you hear the controversy with that?
Well, yeah,
Where,
didn't they?
Genshin Impact and Sonic were fighting. That's kind of, we talked about it briefly, but didn't dive into it.
Genshin though is like bribing people though, right? For like if you vote for
Well,
us or whatever, we'll give you so and so or
exactly.
something.
Even if they didn't explicitly say it, every time they win an award, you get currency, and everyone's just like these addicted free to play players that need a couple pulls. So they're like got spreadsheets out of like who's voting and when they're voting, and then they were tracking the votes, and they saw a big spike, and they're like, wait a second, that's not mathematically possible. Sonic must be botting, and like it turned into this whole thing where they were going against Sonic Frontier, and
I did end up seeing Genshin Sonic Rule 34 on my timeline because of it. So that's what it accumulated to.
Hopefully some of it was good.
Well, at the very least, something good came out of it.
Dork retweeted it, and Dork only retweets the best of the best.
Oh, truly, that's the cream of the crop.
Yeah, exactly. If Dork's retweeting it, you know it's good.
Right.
But yeah, I cannot believe he got up there. You see him thinking, just standing there going like, what the fuck am I about to say? Like,
what a weirdo.
He goes like, my turn. And then I was like, what is like? Then I like Claire. I just go, did I hear Bill Clinton? Like,
yeah, I was like, huh? For me, yeah, it was weird because I was just not paying enough attention. Where it's like, oh, that was weird.
Was there any big announcements that you guys saw? That intrigued you? I didn't watch the whole thing, so it was just kind of like the big ones that I was already kind of tracking. Got their announcements, but
that Armored Core is a thing that looks sweet. Like,
dude, Armored Core, man.
I don't know anything about Armored Core, and I'm not gonna pretend like I know anything about it, but that looked fucking sweet. Whatever that is, they didn't show any gameplay, but I just assume it's gonna be like Gundam Wing Dark Souls and whatever.
Yeah, because it was Bandai Namco, right? Or FromSoft.
It's from software.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if Bandai's involved in it. But it was just a CGI trailer. Like, we didn't see anything. But like, from what I can tell, from what my two eyes tell me, this is like a Gundam Wing Dark Souls, and it's gonna be sick.
I don't know anything about the series, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me neither.
But see, for me, it was like, for the most part, CGI. So
yeah,
this could be a cool idea, but then gameplay is
like what
completely turned me off.
What are we gonna say? No.
My biggest thing is like kind of the day of or day before news of Diablo is dropping, and pretty much everyone's saying, yeah, it looks pretty good. But I saw Skill Up, or Shill Up, I should say. He posted a video saying, I played Diablo 4, and he praised it as well. And I think he is very fair as a reviewer.
He started with Destiny, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Division. Actually, I think maybe even the Division more than Destiny. But
okay, because I recognize his channel whenever he kind of pops up. Like,
yeah, and then he essentially moved on to reviews of games and all that. And I just think he's like pretty fair overall. And
I agree.
He has a lot of praise for the game. Obviously, there's worry because of what they did with Diablo Immortal. Like they monetized that. There's a lot of issues with that game, but as long as they don't pull that in there,
well, I was actually
maybe we get a winger.
Where was it? I was like looking. They announced like Diablo, where it's like, the base version is $70, even though the game is going to have a cash shop, season pass, sold expansions. A $90 one for 4-day head start, which I hate when any game does that.
I hate when they do that.
Because that's just like FOMO because especially if it's like, oh, I want to play with my friends, or are they playing?
Well, we're getting a $90 one, bro.
Yeah, if they're playing, so worry about that, because then
$100, Jesus Christ.
I'm pretty certain it's going to be pretty egregious. Because that's just kind of where gaming's headed. And especially after seeing Diablo Immortal, despite the blowback, the seemingly sentiments from most people where it's like, this is egregious. And they're like, we just made a lot of money, though. So, and we're still making a lot of money. Yeah, so.
It's gaming, the amount of money that's in it, though, like, there's a guy I know, don't want to reveal too much, don't expose it, but he approached me saying, hey, I've been playing this new game. They've got a revenue share option. Do you want to maybe look into it? And I was like, I don't know about that. And he said to me, he's like, the reason I'm bringing it up is because last month I made 6 figures from this revenue sharing. And I looked at his channel and I looked at the videos he's getting and the views he's getting. He's only getting like 9,000-10,000 views on some of his videos. But because he's getting a percentage of anything that they spend in game. And it is a gacha game, so maybe there's some whales that are bringing it up. But you know, if you loop back to Fortnite and you know, there's that leak of Ninja where he's like, yeah, the most I made from my code 1 month is 5 mil. And it's like, no, you didn't. It's like, yes, he did. Yeah, he did. He made 5 million. And that was one of the months. And then there was other months. Like the amount of money that Ninja and Lupo and all those people use with their codes, if they just gave creators 2%, 5%, it would be like this astronomical amount of money on some of these games. I can't imagine how many COD skins are bought, how many CSGO skins have been bought and transferred if they had creator codes. And I'm wondering if maybe that is one of the next steps is you guys are making billions of dollars. You could secure content creators staying in that game indefinitely. Those Destiny people that are covering Destiny right now, if they got a percentage of Eververse, they would never quit.
Oh, Jesus
I
would never quit. Use code SALT, bitches. Like,
Bro,
look at this new armor. It's set, isn't it sick?
Exactly. I've never even talked about the Eververse shop,
no
but I'd be like, what's the new Eververse stuff every Tuesday?
Yeah, I would hate myself.
You know, I'm just wondering when are developers going to maybe realize that, like, they, you know, give up a percentage here and there, and then all of a sudden they've locked down an entire content creator army, 50 people, like, grinding their game. They never have to market it again. I don't know. I think it could be the future because gaming is just going up, and there's so much competition now too. Do they maybe need to do some things to lure in the creators to cover their game and stay? I don't know.
Well, for me, when everyone like memes on Epic Game Store, but once it came out and then they did creator codes, I've been sitting here like just wishing Steam had done that or would, because for me, especially as a variety creator, I could be a lot more secure in making random variety videos, not so much having to worry about, okay, well, are the views going to be the exact same? Because, you know, people tell me, and I know there are like some people in my audience where if they see me play a new game, they're like, oh, I like his taste. We usually like to play a game or same games. I'll go get the game. Or like with all the indies I do, where like if they had done something like that, it would also just make the job, especially for people on who, you know, are starting on it and like in that weird in between where like they're making enough to get by, but you know, they're like burning themselves out to do it, where it would just be that little bit of boost. But I think at the same time, companies are so stingy. It's like, we don't want to give away 1 to 2%.
No.
Even though, you know, in the grand scheme, they're going to be fine, but like more profit.
Yeah.
But to a degree, I mean,
big suits upstairs.
Because like, just like that, how people respect your opinion, they might not respect it as much, even if you speak out, if they know you're still going to get like rev split, right?
That's true. That is true. Absolutely.
And I mean, for some people, that matters. For others, they're like, screw it. We love this, you know, use my code. So there's like a moral gray area there, but I do think it's smarter for some companies, especially some smaller and upcoming ones. Like there was this new game called, I don't remember if we play Omega Strikers. I think that's what it was. Yeah. Smaller upcoming game that's on PC, and like I think it's on mobile now too. But in order to like kickstart it, what they do is they just said, hey, here's like a competition. Here are some creators. They have like teams, aka when you're playing the game, just use their code or like just like use their avatar or whatever, and it counts towards their team. They're gonna see how many wins we can get in the first 2 weeks of the game or whatever. And at the end of it, whichever creator wins, it was something like they get like 30% of the cash shop for the first month of the game or something.
Jesus.
And then something moving forward. So, you know, a lot of creators are like, well, shoot, I'm gonna shill this out. Or like, hey, I'm gonna make these pushes. Like even Moist Critical and stuff did some pushes.
Is that who won, Moist?
No, I think it was actually some like a Spanish streamer who's pretty big, I believe. That or a VTuber. There's also another VTuber, which is a whole other army, who was making this giant push. But just like that game got a lot more publicity and helped the launch simply because they're like, hey, here's an opportunity for creators. Because it was also like not only that, but if you get in the top 10, you get like an emote permanently in the game. And if you get in the top 5, or I think like top 3, you get to make a skin in the game, and so on and so forth. But I do think it's something we'll start to see. I don't know so much about the AAA, but some of the smaller ones. But yeah, at the same time too, it's like I wish any of the games I liked had like I wish I liked Fortnite, man, and I had a Fortnite code, but
yeah,
I think that's part of the problem too for me. Is like I don't even think I could. Like if I didn't and genuinely like it anyway, because like even now, like Among Us, Among Us popped off for me, but I'm like I gotta do something else. It didn't even matter that it was astronomical for me, but I was like I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't think I can shill as hard. I ain't got that dog in me.
I think people just don't realize. Obviously, being a creator is like cool. It's cushy. It's fun. You get to play games, absolutely. But when you play a game and you're thinking about a game and you're thinking about videos for a game, it becomes a spreadsheet. It doesn't become a video game anymore. It kills the game. And I think that's something that a lot of people who don't have to do it as a job don't realize. It's like, well, stop complaining about the game. It isn't a game anymore. It is not fun. It is not fulfilling. It does not give you dopamine. It literally is a job. I would rather, I even said this to my wife the other day. I would rather do my old sales job. I've never felt this unhappy with just the actual work part of it. I understand that it provides a lifestyle. It provides, security for my family. But the genuine day-to-day doing the thing is so unfun to me sometimes compared to my old job doing sales. Like I miss that old job, which is sickening. It's like truly, it's like you're living the dream. This is such a big dream. But there's so many days where it's not fun. It is brutal.
Well, and I think it speaks also to like just where you are right now, and that's why it's so tough. It's like, I mean, you and I have always had conversations on and off about this too, where like our job is the epitome of like ebb and flow, like peaks and valleys. You're just in a valley sometimes, and a peak's coming usually. I mean, it always has, right? But when you're in the valley, you can't see that peak, and so the lows are low, the highs are high, and so I get it. But just like I've seen it before, there's no question in my mind you'll be able to pivot and find something else that will not only click, but you'll be good at making content for it. But
yeah, Dork actually kind of put me on to this really cool game that I'm interested in. I don't know if it'll get demonetized or not, but
now you hold on.
I really like the look of it. Wait, I really like it.
Oh, Goddess of War.
I have a question. Who's the more epic sevener, Mr. Fruit or Mtashed? Who wins?
I think Mtashed. The problem is,
are you playing right? Are any of you playing right now at this very moment?
I'm doing some wyvern hunts. Yeah, it's just easy, but it's not even a contest. Like, I think how much of a head start I have on you? Almost a year or something. I think.
Probably.
I had a good amount. And I would argue probably 2 months in, Mtashed was already ahead of me. The difference is he also he's min-maxed and he's versed with gotchas, and he immediately knew. I'm still pretty casual. Even I'm like, man, there was like a guide I was looking at a month ago, and I was like, I've been playing a year and a half wrong. Great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so like I 100% like he has the mind for it, and I don't. Yeah. So
like, you're doing wyvern hunt. What are you doing right now, Mtashed?
I actually turned my phone off for the podcast because I really want to be present with you guys. Okay. I really want to be present.
Just know he wyvern hunts constantly, and Blue's probably FFing at this moment or trying to get into the dungeon.
Well, actually, I actually don't usually play games anymore when I podcast. And if I do, it's usually something that's like AFK brain dead, like
cutting wood in.
I was gonna say, to be fair, I don't even have to look at my phone. It's just
like something I can just like have off to the side. Something I'll have off to the side and be like, oh, it's done. Click.
Yeah. The other thing too with like gacha games as a whole is because luck is involved, you can have a very different experience depending on how lucky you are. Like I kept sending pictures to Fruit, and I was like, oh, I just got this guy, and he's like, what? Like it was like over and over again. I was just getting like God tier unit, and so
Tash was cooking.
You know, like some of the units that I ended up getting, they carried me to a point where the average person, like, that no amount of gear can can make up for how good the units that I had were. So I definitely was very blessed in that, and even that's kind of one of the shticks with my Genshin thing is I'm known as the free to play god, because even though I didn't spend money, my account looks like I put $500, $600, $700 into it. If anyone looked at my account, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, he must be a kind of like a small spender," because of the insane luck that it's had. So, I mean, you saw that video the other day. I did a 10 pull and I got 2 5-stars, and everyone is freaking out because it's like those things happen all the time for me for some reason. So
yeah, I was like in your stream and something happened, and I was like, and then you posted about it. I was like, yeah, I was there. I didn't know what happened, but hell yeah, it's
a big moment.
I knew it was a big moment when you tweeted it. I was like, oh shit, I should have posted saying I was here. Anything else from the video game awards?
There are actually a lot of games that interested me. Probably my most excited. I know there's a lot of them. I think it's a tie between Hades 2 and Judas. Those, I think.
Wait, what?
Took it.
I saw Hades 2. Loved the first one. Second one looks amazing. I didn't even see what Judas is.
It's the next project from Ken Levine and a lot of the studio behind BioShocks.
That's right.
Dude, yeah, it looked super good.
And prior to God of War Ragnarok, I would say my favorite story game was BioShock Infinite. Love the way he makes universes. Love the way he tells stories. I watched I think I'd missed something, and I started watching it. I was like, "This Ken Levine's next game?" Because I've been waiting. He's just like been super silent for years, and I like immediately could tell, in like a good way too, that I was like, "Hold up." So that's the next game, and that's one of the ones where it's like I have full faith that that's gonna be great. So those are probably my two like top. But then I messaged you about it. And you mentioned it, the Wayfinder, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah,
that looked pretty interesting. The Warhammer Space Marine, just because I'm in the Warhammer now.
That's my new thing. Like that's what we're.
There was, I can't remember the name. It's the survival game, but you go into like different. Maybe it's called like Realm Walker. I don't remember what it's called, but it's kind of like got like a Victorian aesthetic, and it's kind of like,
I know what you're talking about.
It's almost like Rust, but it's more AAA, and there's no PvP. That looked interesting.
Returnal on PC, cool.
I mean, I've already beat it. It's cool for other people. It's a great game.
I haven't played it. I didn't get a PS5, so I'm actually excited because I'm a roguelike or roguelite fiend. I really like those games. So
you and me both.
The Lords of Fallen looked sick.
Yeah, Lords of the Fallen looked really sick.
Wait,
I was very surprised by that.
Is that like a sequel to Lords of the Fallen, like the PC game?
The new game is a reboot of sorts from 2016, Lords of the Fallen, and takes place 1,000 years after the original.
Oh, because Lords of the Fallen is like it was like kind of a Dark Souls.
That's what it looked like. It looked
competitor. Sweet. Yeah, and it was fine. Like I played it. It was a little, kind of under budget kind of thing. Like it didn't have as much meat and potatoes, but they had some cool ideas there. So
it looked like it has a budget now.
Yeah, I didn't even see that Lords of the Fallen was doing a new one, so that's exciting.
The aesthetic though was cool, yeah. Idris Elba and Cyberpunk. I gotta play it now.
How did they get him?
That alone, I was sitting there, I was like, "Is that no shot that they got Elba?" And then it shows Elba. I'm like, all right, well.
Also, the Mario movie looks sick. I don't care what people say about Chris Pratt's voice. It's okay. It's not that bad. The movie.
I'm just gonna tune him out and listen to the rest. It does look beautiful.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Awesome.
Trailers, I still need to figure out how it works, because it also still like almost sounds and look too good to be true. The Dune survival MMO.
Yeah.
Like, how is that going to work? That's what I still want to know.
It's another CGI one. Like it looked like.
Right.
But I now, because I was watching, I was like, this looks kind of good, but I thought it was supposed to be like an MMO, and then they're like, it's a survival MMO, and I'm like, that's one of the ones where I don't think I'm going to believe it until I play it.
Yeah.
And then if it's good, I'll be like, okay.
I was like, this looks good. And it was like survival MMO. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, there's no chance.
Is that because when they tack MMO on, there's so many things that can go wrong?
Well, it's that, and usually when
so many boxes.
Well, one survival was like, I haven't landed with a survival game in a long time. And then they put MMO, and it's like,
Well, see,
usually
that's
for
what.
me,
How does that work? A survival MMO. That's what I want to know too. Is like, how are they going?
I think for me, the MMO is definitely like a lot of things can go wrong, and a lot of times the social aspects when I see MMO often are more important than how good the game is. You know what I mean? So like I don't know, I feel
I
like the big trap of MMOs is the social aspects are great. Uh yeah, there's about like 2 hours of gameplay content.
I find with the social aspects, it's like depending what they are, is like if you're adding people into my world, if they're messing up my gameplay, like I can't kill that raptor for my quest because you're
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like how is this being implemented? Are they gonna make my experience more fun working with them and playing with them and against them, or is it going to hinder me? And like that's my biggest worry all the time.
There was a new trailer for the Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which I didn't watch.
Sick.
Oh my god, it looks so good.
Very
because
sick.
I still haven't played the first one. I want
The
to.
first
but
one
so
is sick. You gotta play it.
I do, but I muted it and I was like, I don't want spoilers.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that looks good. Kojima with Death Stranding 2, DS2.
Didn't play the first one.
Me either, but it made me want to play the first one.
I don't think I can get
still
through
don't
it.
wanna- Yeah, it sounds like a cool story,
I don't know.
but that game just wasn't made for me. But I'm also glad though that it did well enough for him to be able to make another one, because I like that he's and other companies are still able in the video game industry right now to think and make outside of the box, because as we're seeing right now with like the movie industry, we wouldn't see something like this come out that's so drastically different because they want to play it safe. So like, even though I might not play it or enjoy it, it's not for me, I'm still going to support these weirder, out there, different than what you would expect games, because it speaks better to a broader sense of the industry for creative freedom and stuff.
Sidetrack question: are you a Avatar fan? Mtashed,
here
like
we
the
go.
movie, and like, are you a fan, or is it just kind of a movie to you?
Like Avatar with the blue people, or like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
It was fine. It was like a pretty, like the first one was pretty. It's like Pocahontas, in
Yep.
space kind of thing. Like I don't think it was like this amazing story
Okay.
that
You
like I
okay.
think visually,
Us too.
obviously at the time was pretty cool, but I'm not this like stan for
Okay.
Avatar.
We were
Because we
curious,
just keep finding more and more people that are among
like
us.
Nate Shot tweeted the other day, like, I got my screening tickets for it. I can't wait.
And I was saying this last podcast, it's like it's one of those movies that like internet age people are just like, I mean, that looks cool, I guess, but for some reason normies are like, yo, this is
We
gonna be
love
the
this.
movie of a generation.
They're like, did you know that they use green screens in this movie?
Yeah.
What are those?
Yeah, there's literally
I
green
know
screens.
now. I know what you're thinking. Why is this green screen here? Why is
No,
this
no,
green
listen.
thing here?
Hear me out.
Hawaii. Yeah, again, Hades 2 looks sick.
Suicide Squad. Gonna have Kevin Conroy in it.
I think his last Batman role, which is it'll be cool to see, but also sad. Yeah. For me at least, and I don't know if you saw him, Tash, but exciting. Dead Cells is getting like a Castlevania expansion, which I loved the Netflix Castlevania. So for me, this is a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Earthblade, I'm interested because it's from the people who made Celeste, and Celeste was
it looks
incredible.
like their Hollow Knight interpretation, kind of.
Something like that. I'm excited for that. But all in all, honestly, yeah, most of the announcements and stuff, I was like, this is pretty cool. Now, I hope some of them come out soon, because I have a feeling,
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been such a big gap between some of the announcements and some of them releasing. It just, even now, some of them are 2023. Beginning, middle, end. When is it going to get delayed again?
That's the other thing too. I expect like literally every announcement, there's gonna be a delay.
Yeah, just a name at the end. Do you guys want to move on over to Q&A? Because we have, I think, about 15 minutes left. We have some questions, some specifically for Mtash.
I'm full on the Final Fantasy 16 hype train.
Oh, that's right. Final Fantasy 16.
They showed off more gameplay. Oh my goodness, it looked so good. It looked incredible. I'm so excited.
And this
Final
is Yoshi
Fantasy
P's Final
16?
Fantasy,
This
right?
is Yoshi P's Final Fantasy. Yeah, I'm really excited. The gameplay looked incredible.
He was
Is the
there.
combat going to be like Final Fantasy 15?
So no, it's actually big departure from fif from 15, and it's a bigger departure from obviously the remake. It looks very Devil May Cry.
Really?
Yeah, incredibly Devil May Cry. It like honestly, Devil May Cry's combat with it seems like a little Final Fantasy twist with like summons and stuff. So it's a very big departure from what they've done the past couple times.
Interesting. See, because I've played all the Final Fantasies, and like I've always been a turn-based guy. I like turn-based. It might be slow for some people. And then into 13, I know 13 got some flack, but that was when they did like the paradigm system where they
Yeah.
essentially auto battled, but you could make a couple choices. I thought that was kind of a nice middle ground. But going into 15, I did not like, wow, I didn't like the game, period. I'm the biggest hater of Final Fantasy 15. I didn't like the characters. Some people were
Is that the car driving one? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
And everyone's like, "Oh, I love their friendship." And I played this game and I was like, "Am I playing the same game?" It seems like they've got such a superficial friendship. I didn't like the combat at all. Everyone's saying like the villain, he's like one of the best villains. I was like, "Really?" I'm wondering honestly if I missed some side quests or something because I finished that game. It took me week after week after week of playing a little bit here, a little bit there to finally finish it. And at the end of it, I was in utter disbelief that that was the end. And like, I don't
Yeah.
know what went wrong. And so I'm kind of scared for this new game. And
I'm
it,
excited because it's a completely different director. It's not Nomura. Right. Yoshi
right.
P, the savior of 14.
Fair. And I
And
guess also
14's
like the
combat is
setting,
amazing.
like I really enjoy the setting of 16. Like I'm more of that
Yeah.
medieval, right?
Just high fantasy medieval, and I'm ready
Mhm.
for it. And yeah, it just seems like it just seems like instead of leaning into like, oh, let's try to find that hybrid between RPG and uh and action, like they're just like, fuck it. Devil May Cry combat, bitch. Here you go.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, I'm in the same boat of 15. I tried really hard to love 15, but I was just the same. Like they tried to do like this action combat that just felt super shallow, and the summons were cool, but like it was like cool. I get a cool cutscene every now and again after I've spammed mindless attack number 4. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I tried. I do love the graphically of the game is still gorgeous, incredible graphic, and exploration had its moments, but yeah, I not not a 15 camper, man.
Right.
All right, we are gonna move on to questions here.
Yep.
Got a question here from Dr. Senpai. Says, I decided to set up a Patreon because I used to love listening to you guys and watching your content, and I still do daily.
That's
Sorry if this is a
right.
bit long, but you guys are the best. You've helped me through some depressive episodes, and you've helped me become more disciplined in working out. Anyways, I started to watch Pokemon TCG, and I have no idea where to start. I want to build a Tyranitar deck because he's my favorite. Any tips on how to build a deck or where to go to understand the game itself?
Nowadays, that's a good question.
There's
you
tons
asked
of
me
resources.
13 years ago, 14 years ago, I could have told you.
The basic Pokemon TCG is very simple. It's the benefit right now, right? Is there's great resources if you just look up like Pokemon TCG meta, you can see what's like hot right now. As far as basic decks go, right? Like you're looking for draw support, you're looking for okay, what can a couple of cards to draw, probably like 8 maybe 10 energy depending on the type. And it's you can make fun meme decks for sure, and like T-Tar will be T-Tar not in the meta right now, unfortunately, but you can make a fun deck out of it. Yeah, there's a lot of resources for the one I use a lot is Justin Basil, which is Justin Basil, like basil. Basil. Yeah, you guys like basil? Who doesn't love
do like
basil in the
basil, yeah.
pasta?
Big fan.
I do.
But yeah, Justin Basil. That's where I use all my resources right now. You could also go to like other places like there's this whole like TCG meta report.com or some shit. I don't fucking know. I don't really use that one. But yeah, there's tons of guides. If you just look up basic deck building guides, if you just look up the resources are just massive for TCG, and it's not a particularly like massively deep TCG, so which is the benefit of it. It's probably one of the easiest TCGs to learn.
Space.com says, listening to some old episodes on the podcast, and I was wondering if there's any way we could see the legendary unreleased Dream Team shirt. I've always heard you guys hype it up, and now curiosity has taken me, and I want to
Oh
see it.
yeah, Fruit's already posted on Twitter before.
Yeah, I was. When was the tweet? That's a great question because it's also on an older computer. I don't have the picture anymore, but it's
just...
if someone finds it, feel free to like post on the Reddit or something. But
did you guys send me one?
we
yeah.
we weren't allowed to.
No.
Here comes the
of
legend for
Bungie.
you, Mtashed. So we wanted to do another Dream Team shirt because we did like the first shirt and it did really well, and I designed it. It was like cool, like it was cool portraits of all our characters, just very stylized, monotone, monochromatic, low cost, but it's still like really stylized and looked really cool. Just cool portraits of our characters, right? And so we were gonna do another one for Destiny 2 because we were like, all right, we did the first one, did good. People want another Dream Team shirt. It was also right around D2. I know Fruit was what were you coming up on? This was your big not your million shirt, but it was like
close.
750 years.
Yeah, there's somewhere around there.
Something like that. And so we were like, all right, let's do another shirt. So I made up a new shirt. It banged. It was a sick shirt. And for posterity, we were like, well, we're more known in the community now. Like we're pretty big, pretty big dudes in the community. So we should ask Bungie because obviously we don't want to like ask them and they'd be like, oh, what the fuck were you thinking, you idiot? And then get sued by them.
Right.
And so we asked them, and they were like, they straight up said no.
Really?
Like, nope, we can't sell it. And
So
we
didn't sell it.
figured we shouldn't have asked them in the first place because they wouldn't have come after us anyways, right?
Ask for forgiveness, not permission, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. They
Yeah,
wouldn't
Because
have
they
come after us
can't
anyways.
not say no. They have to say no. Legally, they're going to be like, yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah, and so because everyone and their mom sells Destiny themed shirts, right?
And some people more just copy paste, like
yeah, some
not
people
even
just straight up are
anything
throwing
like that.
screenshots as t-shirts, right? And so we were like, man, we really shouldn't have asked them, but I mean, we asked them, they said no, and so now that shirt is lost in the abyss.
Damn.
I worked really hard on it too, Sag.
Question from Jack says, I personally cannot find enough time in the day lately to do things I want to do, play games and do art. A question for all of you is, what event in your life pushed you to go fully for what you wanted to do and what your heart desired? Also, been here since the beginning. Love watching all the content from each and every one of you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still waiting on that.
Seeing Christian do it in it when we were in college. I said, that was sick.
That's cute. That's so sweet.
I haven't had that moment. I'm just kind of like a go with the flow dude at this point. I was like, if something works wicked, let's go for it. But it's not like I haven't had like that. This is my life's calling moment.
I think
With
most people
content
don't.
creation, yeah, I don't think most people do. With content creation, it was more like, yo, this is really fun. Let's do it. It wasn't like, this is it. This is my moment where I've found my calling. So yeah, I'll let you know when I have that moment.
I think I made some changes in life when I was having my son, just like going from a hockey player to working more, and then thinking, well, I want to provide for him, so I want to get educated, and it was just kind of like all the steps in progress, and even content creation happened while I was in university, and it was just like this thing that happened, and so you just go with the flow and definitely get some nudges here and there, but I'm still, am I as happy? Am I happy right now? Like, is it time to pivot to I don't know. Maybe management or something like that. I don't know. I have no idea.
I guess I've kind of talked about it on and off, but I mean, I originally pushed me to it because consuming other people's content and how much it helped me. I was like, I don't want to do the same for people. That's how it started, and then it was college after doing it for some time, and it finally was starting to take off. Where I was like, I like this. Now it's more feasible, so I'm gonna double down and then eventually quit college. After, I mean, I kept going for like a year and a half, but at some point I'm like, what am I going to college for? Like, I'm already doing what I want to do. So,
hell yeah, brother.
Brother.
Question here from Vabe Raider says, Mtashed, as someone who lived in a country where actual healthcare system, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you pity us?
I honestly, you want my honest answer? It is sick. It is sick what goes on in America. The fact that you can get bankrupted because something accidental happens, something goes wrong with your heart. My mom fell off her bike and broke her arm in the States. I don't know how much that costs to fix, but they got her to the hospital, they got her to surgery, and she didn't pay anything. And, you know, even the other thing too is like, you know, family members with some mental health stuff have had ample help with it. It's still not great here. The, you know, dentist, mental health, some of those things that are viewed as extras are still quite expensive. But, you know, the fact that, you know, having a baby, having a minor surgery for an injury or these little things that turn into big things if you don't fix them, it's a real shame that it doesn't get addressed as much in the States.
I literally didn't play co-ed soccer or a men's league soccer team because one, I'd be probably playing harder if it was men's league because I just couldn't afford to get hurt. I was like, if I get hurt, like that would be the worst thing that ever happened to me. So no, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's not like we're perfect over here and like we pay some extra taxes, but you know, I'm doing the math on how much tax I pay, and like I look at how much my school paid compared to the States. Like university is subsidized in Canada, so my tuition was like, I think it was about $5,500 a year, and in the States, in some of the universities, it's like 20,000. It's like 50,000. You know, like it depends on where you're going. But you know, I got 4 years of university for around the cost of what, a year and a half of some universities, maybe even less than that. And so it's like there's just all these different things where I add up what I've paid in my taxes, and like I think I would take that deal every day. I look at, you know, even little things now. They just added a thing in Canada where if you're below 12, all dental care is free. Doesn't matter what it is, all dental care is free for your first 12 years. And like you can have major problems even when you're 10, 11, 12, you know, whether it's that toothache that needs to be dealt with, or, you know, there's some crowding or whatever it is. To get that all paid for free from the government is like pretty amazing. Until you're 18 years old, all eye care, like eye exams and stuff, are free. Stuff like that. Like it's
health insurance and eye insurance are like two different things, I think, or something like that.
Oh yeah,
they're
like
not bundled in the same thing.
So I definitely think it's worth it, but you know, there's obviously some pros and cons to the fact that, you know, if you needed a surgery and you can afford it, those are two things. You can need surgery and you can afford it. With the privatized stuff, at least you can get it right away. If you need like a hip replacement here or a knee replacement, I think my wife's boss, he needs a knee replacement. He's too young. They're like, yeah, we're not going to do it yet because you know, other people need it more, and you know, it's gonna need to be redone later on. So we're just gonna wait. And he doesn't have the option to just say I want it done. Right. And so there's wait lists. Like I remember my grandpa had to wait like a year and a half to get in for this one leg surgery that needed to be done. So pros and cons for sure.
Do we have the hard cutoff time, Mr. Fruit?
Let's do one more real quick.
Okay, we'll do one more really quick. Says Crystal says, I personally suck at making real life friends, so I decided to join Bumble BFF. Weird, I know. What would you put as your bio if you were swiping for friends instead of a date? I didn't know that was a thing.
You know what? Don't feel weird about it, because everyone's lonely. Everyone's lonely. I don't have a job anymore where I go out and meet people. I would like to have more friends in my city. And so like, don't feel weird about wanting to have friends and using some of these tools to do it. And I guess my thing is, everyone else who's on Bumble BFF is probably looking for the same thing. You're not the weirdo. Everyone's looking for companionship. Just be honest with who you are. Here's what I like to do. Do you like to hike? Let them know about it. And then I think things will filter out because you don't want to fake it because you don't want to get friends that you have nothing in common
Yeah, and
with,
then you gotta be
right?
fake with
Right?
like, you know,
And
that's not a
it's like
relationship
I like
anybody
to go to
wants.
the gym. Maybe you can find a gym buddy. I like to hike. I like to game. Like whatever it is. I think just being honest with it because everyone is searching on there for a friend. And so I think you'd be surprised.
I would put, I like to eat yummy food. That's what I put in mine. Looking for friends that also like to eat yummy food.
I would, yeah, pretty much same thing as Mtashed. It's like, I think it's also a little more flexible than trying to date when there's like competition and the stakes are higher, so to speak, whatever. But in this case, when you're trying to find a friend, you just want to find somebody that would be. So I would say, what is something that you yourself, when looking through profiles, are like, that sounds like somebody I'd want to be friends with. Just then that's probably
Copy
how
pasta.
you want to project yourself too. You don't have to copy pasta, but like, you know, frame it in your own voice and how you would use your certain words when talking or texting, and then some of your interests. I'd say don't overthink it. In this case, I think it's one of those like, be genuine, because just like that, like you don't want to then find somebody that's not exactly the right fit, and then you know you have the luxury with this. Possibly, at least that's the idea of immediately finding somebody that checks a lot of the boxes you want to find in a friend or whatever.
We're gonna do this really last question because it's really MTash and Mr. Fruit oriented. Fat Farm, we'll do it real quick. Says MTash, when are you and Fruit gonna finish your Temtem playthrough? By the way, they just added Showdown in the game, so PvP literally has no barrier to entry anymore. Pick your Tems, pick your stats, pick your moves, and then just queue up. Any interest in Temtem PvP? I've been having a blast with it.
Actually sounds
Honestly,
pretty
we
cool.
should discuss it because like things are slowing down for me. You know, I could slot in some Temtem. I would have some fun.
It's always kind of been up to Mtashed.
Yeah,
It
I
wouldn't have
ignore
worked
him
out.
a lot.
It wouldn't have worked out pretty recently. I've been so busy, but I know he's also busier, and it's more auxiliary for him. So whenever we get to it, it's not like a
DM me, baby. We'll start chatting.
Oh, I'll slide in there.
MTash, thank you so much for joining us for the GG over Easy. It's a blast having you, dude. You
Thanks for
have
having me.
coming
tons
on.
of stories and stuff. I hope the Genshin Impact improves.
Me too.
And
Trust me.
I know the content
Makes two of
creation will
us.
improve in time, dog. It always does for you.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, guys, to episode 161. We will catch you. What? Nope, not 169. You confused me, Blue. We'll catch you next week. Peace out.
Peace.